How to buy European EU citizenship. Many people dream of living in Europe, having their kids study in Europe, just having a European passport as a plan B, or maybe replacing one really good passport like a US passport, Australian, Canadian, with an EU passport. Today we're going to talk about the top 3 programs that I'm always looking at, that I talk to clients about when it comes to getting European citizenship, and that I'm also looking at every single day. I'm very interested in becoming a European citizen because of my background. I have European families. I can't qualify for citizenship by descent from Europe, but I can qualify for citizenship by investment, obviously, if I go through one of these processes. So let's go through the top 3 that you can use to buy EU citizenship. The first one that I talk about quite a lot, it's more for higher net worth individuals that are looking to make a donation or a contribution to a European country, and they don't mind losing that contribution, that donation, but they get a passport really quickly compared to many other programs around the world that allows you to live in the EU and as a country that is not really restrictive or trying to impose new taxes or trying to impose new regulations, and that is Malta. Maltese citizenship by investment. I've actually been to Malta, talked to lawyers on the ground in Malta, spent quite a lot of time there, loved the country, and I would obviously love to go through the program. I'm not in a position to give up the contribution of about $800 and something thousand, the total cost of the program, with the contribution, renting an apartment, doing another donation that you need to do, and all of the lawyer fees that are included in the program. You're looking at about $1.1 million to get this passport in about 16 months. They say 12 months, but in reality, it's about 16 to 18 months that you actually get the Maltese passport and Maltese citizenship. Obviously, Malta is in the EU, so you get complete access to all of the European Union. You can go easily live anywhere in the EU. You can go easily live in Switzerland or any other country that you might want to go to. And obviously you have travel access to the whole world. So you have access to the US, Canada, Australia, UK, obviously all of the EU, and many other countries that are quite hard to get into just because Malta is part of the EU. A lot of people actually don't know it, or they're not sure if Malta is a European EU country because it is in the middle of the Mediterranean and it's just 2 little islands that are quite beautiful, but they're not talked about that much. You could be a great fit for this program if, for example, you don't mind losing that amount of money. If you have 10 million, 20 million, 200 million, $900 million, we're losing 1 million just to get a really good passport. Let's say your passport is really bad, or you want to renounce US citizenship and you don't want to switch it for a Caribbean passport. You need access to go back to the US, you need access to go back to Canada, you need access to go anywhere that the Maltese passport allows you to do that, or you just need very quick access to the EU without much hassle. Obviously, we're dealing with the European Union, so Malta has extremely strict due diligence process. They're going to check into your entire criminal background, source of funds, absolutely everything to the T. Make sure you do the application properly with a lawyer that knows what they're talking about, knows what they're doing. If you want to contact, I'll give you that. But if you don't mind losing that amount of money for the privilege of having EU citizenship much quicker than any other program, and being able to just travel wherever you like, depending on where you want to go in the world, then definitely Malta could be a great choice for you. The other 2 choices, which actually give you sort of the same visa-free travel privileges and also access to the EU, are a little bit longer. The second one being Bulgaria, citizenship by investment. Bulgaria has a very interesting 2-step program to becoming a citizen of Bulgaria. You invest initially about 576,000 US dollars, 512,000 euro, 1 million Bulgarian lev, into an investment fund in Bulgaria, and you get permanent residence in Bulgaria with that investment. It's important to note that it takes a couple of months to get it to actually process. So you're not getting permanent residence in a month, in a couple of days, in a week. You're getting permanent residence in about 6 months. So once you start the application, 6 months later, you get that permanent residence. Once you have the permanent residence, after 1 year, you can double up the investment for 512,000 euro to about €1 million. So from 576,000 US dollars to 1.2 million US dollars. So you double up the investment in that investment fund, and then you automatically qualify for citizenship, and you can become a citizen of Bulgaria right away and a citizen of the European Union. Bulgaria is the worst passport in the whole of the EU because they're heavily prejudiced when it comes to actually going to other countries around the world. So they need a visa to go to the US. A lot of Bulgarians actually get rejected when they're trying to go to Australia, even though they have visa-free travel. So if you're looking for the best passport in the EU or one of the best ones, then definitely Bulgaria is not that one. But you don't lose that investment. You get the investment back. It's sort of like a golden visa, which we're going to talk about in a second. You're not just giving a contribution, a donation, you're getting that investment back. You're not losing on it. Maybe you lose a little bit through inflation, but you're actually getting it back and getting the passport in that 2-year, 2.5-year period. You don't need to learn Bulgarian at all, which is a very hard language to learn, but you don't need to learn it. And Bulgaria is a very interesting country. It's quite cheaper than any other EU countries. I personally didn't like living there. I was about 3 to 4 weeks in Bulgaria, traveling around Bulgaria. My personal experience, it was not my favorite country. I know some people absolutely love it, and some people talk about it a lot on YouTube, and they actually live there. And congrats to them. But for me, it wasn't really a place that I want to invest my money. It wasn't really a place that I want to spend my time. And when it comes to doing the 2-step program, the 2-year program, first year, you invest $576,000 US dollars, then you invest the double up in investment. The first year when you get the permanent residence, you can't just go and live anywhere else in the EU. So I was talking to a client about all these different programs, and he says, I want to do Bulgaria, but I want some sort of Schengen access during that first year because Bulgaria is not part of the Schengen area, the borderless area of Europe, meaning that if you're a Bulgarian permanent resident, you can't just go and live anywhere in Europe. So you have to just live in Bulgaria until you become a citizen, then you can go and live anywhere in Europe. So you might need to get a visa for that first year, you might need to get another residence permit, so it might be a hassle compared to doing something like Malta or the third program, which we're going to talk about right now, which is the Portuguese Golden Visa, which I've talked about a lot in this channel. The Portugal Golden Visa allows you to get a passport in a much longer time frame with a lesser investment than, let's say, Bulgaria would. So for example, the initial investment in Bulgaria and Portugal is the same, about 500,000 euro, about 570,000 US dollars in an investment fund. In the case of Portugal, you also have real estate. The laws are changing, the rules are changing. If you want to check a deep dive on Portugal Golden Visa, it's in the icon up there. I've talked about it many times, but it's a fund, real estate in the country, except the most popular areas. And then in 5 years, you get your passport. But in the meantime, in those 5 years, you get temporary residence in the Schengen area. So if you want to go and live anywhere in Europe, you theoretically can because you have temporary residence in the Schengen area. So you could go live anywhere in those 26 countries during those 5 years until you work towards a passport. Other things to consider are that Portugal requires you to learn a little bit of Portuguese, and they do require some residency. So you'll be spending about 7 to 14 days, depending on what year it is, in Portugal, and you're learning some Portuguese, which if you're spending 2, maybe 3, maybe 5 weeks in Portugal per year, you'll learn enough. Maybe you do some Duolingo every day or 5 minutes per day. You'll learn enough to actually become a citizen of Portugal. And to do the whole residency, you need to constantly be updating your residency status every year, every 2 years, and then doing the actual permanent residence. After you do permanent residence, then you can do citizenship. So the program is a little bit of a hassle when it comes to actually renewing the thing again and again. In the case of Bulgaria, you just renew it once and then you become a citizen. So there are many things to consider when it comes to all of these programs. I prefer Portugal the most just because it's a lesser investment. You get that investment back. It's a much more respected country than, let's say, like a Bulgaria. If you don't want to do the contribution, because if you're thinking, okay, I don't care if I lose the money, the $500,000 or the million, then go with Malta, because you'll get the passport way faster. It's a very respected country, a very small country, will leave you alone, and you can use that to travel the whole world. But if you're comparing Portugal and Bulgaria, that first year that you invest in Bulgaria, you don't have access to the Schengen area. Then you need to double up the investment, and then you get that passport. And you get a passport that doesn't give you access to the US, restricted visa-free travel access to Australia, not really that well respected around the world compared to something like Portugal that gives you direct access to the Schengen area from the beginning for 5 years, and then you become a citizen of Portugal. So it depends on a couple of things. Are you willing to lose the investment? How fast do you want to get the passport? And do you mind having some sort of restrictions when it comes to actually becoming a citizen of any of these countries? To finish it off, let's finish very quickly with 3 personal and financial scenarios that would make me choose one of these programs over the other. If I am worth over $10 million, I don't mind losing one of that million, or I'm not investing that million into crypto, which is gonna go 10x or 100x later on. I wanna get a passport very quickly to potentially renounce my US citizenship, not lose access to the US, not lose access to the big countries, be able to live in Europe, be able to do all of that. I would probably go with Malta. If I'm worth between $1 million, maybe 20 million, maybe even 100 million, but I don't wanna lose that investment, I wanna keep the investment, and I want to gain immediate access to the Schengen area, to live in the Schengen area or to be in the Schengen area. I want to work towards a passport. I don't mind getting it in 5 years. I don't mind getting it in a long period of time. Then I would choose Portugal. And if I want to get a faster passport than Portugal, I want to get it in 2.5 years. I want to get EU access. I want to live in the EU. I don't mind that I can't go to the US or that I have a restricted visa-free travel to some other countries. Then I would go with Bulgaria. So the financials matter and the passport that you're getting matter. If you want to actually analyze all of these programs, all the citizenship and residence by investment programs, and you want somebody to guide you through the whole process, I can do that for you. We can book a one-on-one call together, see which program works the best for you. You can click that first link in the description, book a one-on-one call. Let's talk directly. Let's see what program fits you the best. Let's see what strategy fits you. Click that right now. And if you want to find out about more countries that offer their passports and their citizenships for sale, I made a video on the top 10 passports for sale all over the world right now and in the years to come. You can check that video that is going to pop up right here. People absolutely love it. A lot of people have watched that video, have said that it's absolutely amazing, and it's very carefully broken down into different stages depending on the requirements of the program and all the opportunities you have. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, that like button down below. It's a Wealthy Expat, and comment below which program out of these 3 you would choose. I'm very curious. I will see you on the next one.